you coming up, Clarity? Clarity, because they send me Clarity about 4 or 5 times. Did you raise your hands, Clarity? I don't think so, because they just sent it. Are you coming up, Clarity? Is that a yes? Happy birthday, Kimberly. Ain't empathetic is feeling sorry for someone. No. I don't see the invite. Yeah, they sent me an invite to you 5 times. Anyway, for clarity. Yeah, I don't sympathy isn't no. I don't think that would I can understand with it being sympathetic when you send.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are on with Diamond from Cardology. And when I say amazing, she's amazing. So I need you all to focus in and get some notes from Diamond. And I'm also going to share with you ways that you can connect with her. So just listen in right now. It's Vera Giles Norris. It's the Cats Out Show, and we're here on Clubhouse with Miss Diamond. It's 9 of clubs. What does sympathetic mean? 9 of clubs.
I think for my
9 of clubs day.
To the boundary and the detachment, I feel as if when I used to work with people in the hospital, I was more empathetic than sympathetic, and it used to make me sick. So I was trained by one of the charge nurses. Was the mistake that I was making was I was being empathetic rather than sympathetic, and she broke it down to say you can feel for the person's position, but in the sympathetic realm you detach yourself. And you have to, and that's the crucial key. Whereas in empathy, as an empath, they feel and they're literally walking in your shoes, and they will feel everything you're feeling, which can be destructive if you don't know what you're doing. And that's what I almost did to myself, because that, like what Sin was saying about her sister and the boundaries, I had the same. And I just learned boundaries. Literally, I'm 45. I literally learned that maybe like 5 years ago with people. I had no boundaries at all, none, and it just yeah. So that's what I think the difference is.
Wow, it's that, and that is definitely a great example, because that being an empath, people love to say I'm an empath. Why, I don't know. I will never admit to that in my life. I will never admit to being an empath. I do not want your shit inside of me. I'm just sorry. I don't. Mm-hmm. I do not I don't even like to think about how heavy that is for you to even believe that's possible, right? How possible is it for people's energy to really be inside of us? Think about that.
It is, and it can destroy you, because I used to say,
yeah, but isn't that your energy destroying you, not theirs?
Yeah, you would have lack of boundaries, because you can't separate, because you take on the pain. You take on their pain and you take it home. And sometimes I would go home, I'll be dreaming about the patients. I'll be in their bed with them. I'll be feeling their pain. And I'm supposed to be sleeping, and I have a 16-hour shift the next day. I haven't slept. I'm like, astral traveling the whole night because I'm with them.
So let's look at that. Let's look at that. Are you taking on their pain, or is it some pain inside of you that is coming up?
It's probably both. It's probably the trauma bonding with me.
Yes.
There was no boundaries. The lack of boundaries was the first issue that I was never, trained on. I didn't realize that, and I thought, and people would take advantage. And then when the relationship gets destroyed, and then I would take, because I'm a Scorpio as well, so I would take that personally, and then that would make me feel even more down. And then it was just like a downward spiral. So when you guys just said today about the boundaries, when your son was just having that conversation, whilst you were having a conversation, I have to tell you something funny, because I always have real life experience for you, Miss Diamond. A person that I actually blocked last year because she insulted me, and I set that boundary, and I said, you won't do that to me, and I helped this person. I went out of my way. Like exactly what Cindy was saying, her sister, I'm the same way. I went over and above my way to try to help this person, and she just completely disrespected me, and I blocked her. Whilst you two were talking, she literally texted me. And she's not begging me to reconnect. And I was like, oh,
Nine Clubs Day.
On a 9 o'clock. This is why I had to, and then go back to the conversation. To go back to the conversation, me and you had the last time I was on when I was complaining about the Queen of Hearts energy, and then you kept saying, well, your task is to let things go. Because I was gonna like just bum rush her with like, you did this, you did this, and I was like, you know what? Just let it go. She was like, oh, could you meet me? Can we reconnect? And I was just gonna give her the middle finger, like, I'm a Scorpio, that's not gonna happen. And you know what? I was like, because now she wants the work that I'm doing, the thing that I'm writing, and now she wants something to gain from it. And I was like, no, you're not gonna get that. Then I was like, you know what? Just let it go.
Yes,
just let it go.
The fact that it happened today,
just now, five minutes ago.
But the fact that it happened today, you passed a good test. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, it's
the
been
universe
wild.
got a sense of humor, right? It's that I'm gonna sneak up on her, and she's not gonna see what I'm doing. Ooh.
Yes, it's been happening. Ever since I discovered cardology, it's been happening. I've just been laughing. I think there's some kind of cosmic joke happening. Somebody's like somewhere just laughing and just writing the script.
Ooh, child, that's deep. Yeah, that is deep.
I have a quick question, Ms. Diamond. Does cardology look at Scorpio the ruler of Mars being the ruler of Scorpio, or do they look at it as Pluto?
The co-ruler? Well, it's the co-ruler. Of
Which
Scorpio.
one? So if Aminat's, she's a 9 of clubs, right? But she's a Scorpio. Are you looking at her Mars card, or are you looking at her Pluto card?
You would look at both. You look at both.
Got it. Okay.
For Scorpio, you definitely want to look at both of those cards because they co-rulers, right?
Right. Okay, so the cardology considers both. I like that. Okay, cool. Because I was thinking about too, when we're talking about water, so Scorpios and Cancer 9, or even Pisces, if there are any 9 of clubs, could possibly have issues or lessons around boundaries, because water has no boundaries. They hold a lot of space, and their boundaries can be pushed over, and they can't even go, over their own boundaries. So I could definitely see that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there are 9 of clubs. There's no March. Yeah, there are March 9 of clubs. Yeah, 9 of clubs is pretty much that is those higher up into the 9 of clubs is the card that is every month. Yeah, 9 of clubs is in every month.
Yeah, the other question I have is, my new roommate is a 9 of 10 of clubs, right? And she's a Scorpio as well. And our relationship card is 6 of spades.
Oh,
and yesterday I heard you speak briefly on the 6 of spades, and I was trying to catch, and all I can get was like there's supposed to be a heaviness. Is it?
Oh no, there is not. It's a karmic. It's karmic. The 6 of spades is a very karmic energy because of that. Sixes are karmic. Sixes indicate that there could be something that's coming back, right? This the Lord. 6 is ruled by the Lord, ruled by Venus, and it's a karmic law attached to the 6. Anything that they do when it comes back is coming back. Just like we talked about for years about looking at when R. Kelly was gonna hit, and in the cards it hit exactly when it when you look at his cards you can see why it hit at that time, because 6 of spades are very karmic. They are cause and effect. All 6s are, but 6 of spades is the most powerful 6, and it's about discovery. When that 6 of spades hits, you can discover something of a lifetime. It could hit and you could all of a sudden say, no, I want to be a lawyer. That 6 of spades brings out, it brings stuff out from the depths, right? It's about discovery, right? It's the attraction because it is Venus, it's the material world, which, we can see happen to R. Kelly, that he got overtaken in that material world. But it's very, a very attractive and powerful energy, but very karmic energy. And that's the weightiness of it, because that weight of it takes it's a slow moving energy, and it takes time to develop. So it's a very powerful, it's just we talk about Six of Spades forever and ever.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to definitely watch the relationship and just, again, detach and just see how things flow, because this has been super interesting to me. And then also with cardology, I have to say, it's making me live in the present. I think another Scorpio will be the only person who can understand, or another Nine of Clubs, because I'm in my head a lot, and I'm either in the past or in the future. Now, with this new spirituality that I've discovered, it's making me live every day, and I look forward to observing what's going to happen today. Like today, I seem to be everybody's favorite person.
Yes.
Why is everybody liking me? Everybody's like, I went to the gym, people want to hang out with me. I'm like, why? No, I'm just playing, but it's just weird. Today is like I seem to be everybody's favorite person. Like the sun is shining on me. That wasn't like that yesterday. So it's very interesting.
That's that queen. That's that Queen of Hearts. You gotta use that juju. Queen of Hearts is the Queen of Hearts represents all five senses. So today you're exhibiting the senses that people are picking up on, right? So that's that. Yeah, so
I just want to hang out. My clients, like one of my clients was like, let's go to the gym together, because I'm a massage therapist. She's like, I'm like, why do you want to hang out? I'm like, we're supposed to be business. And she's like, no, come to let's go. I want to hang out with you. I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm just taking it. I'm taking everything in. In regards to twins, like, twins that are born on the same day, I'm really interested in how you, as an oracle and a reader, how do you differentiate the person? Let's say two people came to you and they were twins. There's no way they can have the same chart, right? How does cardology look at that?
That girl, you going, we are putting that Nine of Clubs off the stage. Good Lord. I got Nine of Spades today, and she coming for me. Did she not?
Did I not prepare you 3 days ago? I said, I'm just waiting for Nine of Clubs day, because she prepared me.
Well, with twins, for me, I would look at the life spread, and there would just be there would be so many different ways to discover the differences with inside of the life, and not necessarily the outer part of what the twins are. I think of the semi-fixed cards, which are the Ace of Clubs, Two of Hearts, and the Seven of Diamonds, Nine of Hearts, as that mystery behind what twins are, right? Because there's one that is a mystery. It's a mystery to that person, and even though y'all are twins, there's gonna be something that is that is a mystery between the two of them, even identical twins that, I don't know, it's so much, it's something that I'm studying. It's so funny that you brought that up, but it's definitely something that I'm studying about the twins, right? Because there is going to be something, but it is definitely going to be metaphysical, for sure. There's going to be some metaphysical traits that, and I've never, I have twins in my family. I have a couple of sets of twins in my family, but they're not identical twins, but that I look at and happen to be a Nine of Spades and a Five of Clubs. So I look through that to see some of the things, but they're not identical. But it's definitely something that I have been studying. There's something about that identical twin that, it would have to be metaphysical. It has to be, you have to have the birthday and everything for me to really be able to, because I have not had that identical twins, but you would have to have all of the information before I would be able to really say anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it does. It's very interesting, though. Yeah,
it did.
If I could chime in really quickly, I know you asked about cardology, but in astrology, no two charts are the same. So,
yeah. That's why I wanted to see what cardology, and even in my culture as well, because we believe when you're divinely created and you're uniquely created. When your higher self decided to come down here, even if you have a twin, you guys are still coming from the same source, but there's slight difference, just the slightest, like perhaps 1 degree. So that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know if, because I'm doing a comparative study. I'm a 9 of clubs, but between my tradition and cardology, and I'm seeing so many correlations. So that's why I wanted to bring that question to the stage to Ms. Diamond to see how you guys look at that.
Yeah, I would have to have them to look at that, because it's not something I've done. I have not had identical twins, so I wouldn't be able to ask you unless I had that in front of me to really look at that.
Yeah. It's good stuff though. It's good stuff. So I'm gonna enjoy my day today. I feel really good. It's like, so I can't wait to report back to you. If you don't mind, if I see any correlations, I'll just bring it up to the stage and tell you guys. I just thought it was funny that girl blocked me. She literally just cursed me out, and we blocked each other, and then she just came back out of nowhere. Yeah. Like, let it go. 9 of spades. I'm gonna do it.
Let it go. Hey, Kimberly. Hey.
Miss Rising, Miss Diane, I'm sorry. Before, if I could say something real quick before I go into the matrix. I think you're right about your definitions of what you're saying. I just think you're switching up empathy and sympathy. And that's why when you Google it, you can't find what you're looking for. Because social services, they always make you take all these workshops, and I try to associate my words. So sympathy is feeling sorry for a person. And what they want you to have in the workforce is empathy. I know we think about empaths, but I don't think that has anything to do with that. Because if you Google empathy, I think you will find the definition you want. It's just like an understanding.
I Googled all of them. I just said I disagree. I don't think it's ever advantageous to feel sorry for somebody. So that's what I was disagreeing with. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying. But I was just saying, feeling sorry for someone is, how do you even feel sorry for someone? That's what I was saying. It's a feeling. What is it? And I think that's where the English language screws people over, because it's a feeling. It's your feeling. So you're feeling sorry. What does that even mean? You know what I mean? So that's what I was saying. I don't know.
Right. So the 9 of clubs would have empathy. They understand what you're going through, but they're saying, now what? How are you going to get out of it? Right? As opposed to sympathy is, I'm feeling sorry for you. What the hell you do with that?
Okay.
You understand?
I don't think you understand me.
Maybe I don't. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm saying something different, but yeah, I get it. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, I'm not even talking about the 9 of clubs or anything. I was just saying how we misuse words. That's all I was saying. I was just saying words could get you tripped up. That's what I was saying. The words
could get... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. I was just saying words can get you in your feelings, and those are your feelings. So for you to think you're feeling for another person, I'm like, that's kind of like, no, they're your feelings, right? So there's something that is between you two in the energy field, but I'm going to notice my feelings and see what my feelings are doing for me. I can't, you know what I'm saying? It's like when somebody passes or somebody loses somebody, I'm quiet. I don't have nothing to say. It's like people feel like I need to. No, I don't. I will never know what that person is feeling. I remember years ago, a co-worker mother passed, and everybody was feeling so emotional. And she said something that polarized everything. She said, I didn't even like my mother. And it polarized everybody because they were feeling and all of this, and she couldn't take it anymore. She was like, y'all need to get out of this. Just leave me alone. It was so uncomfortable for her. So I'm like, those are your feelings. They're not, I remember that, like, it was like everybody was shocked. Because she was like, I don't like her. So y'all are doing all of this extra, and it's really triggering me. And that was a moment for me. I was like, yeah, we don't know what people are feeling on the inside. We're going by what you think you should say. So for me, it's like, yeah, I'm here for you. That's it. It's like, I'm not going to be the one that is, I think, no, I'm here for you. And that's it, because I don't know what anybody is. I don't want to know what anybody is feeling from a loss and stuff like that. It's very difficult to even have those conversations. And I think language gets us caught in a whole, in a
spell.
Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, I just wanted to say, as I'm on the club, with my birthday being today.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely when we're done with you because we've given so many chances. A lot of times we've given too many chances. And so when it's done, it is completely done. And being in your head a lot, I have to learn to release things and write things down or just let things go. And sometimes that's very hard to do because we're stuck in the head. But I do know there's a lot of karmic stuff that happens as well.
Yeah, energy. And you being a 9 of Clubs Virgo, that is interesting. That gives a whole lot of texture to it because Virgo is literally trying to make it make sense, right? Mm-hmm. Virgo is trying to make it make sense. So you can't assign yourself. You can't give yourself assignments about other people's stuff, right? You got to be the person that lets it go because you will never get anything done in life if people figure that out about you, right? People figure that out about you. They'll be using you like it would just be constant. They would figure out that that's a way to get inside of your head. Yeah, that's not something that as a Virgo, yeah, you want to be as detached as you possibly can. You want to use that Mercury because Mercury is detached. So you use that Mercury and pull back and not my circus, not my monkeys. Right?
Exactly. And knowing that I have to, I'm like, okay, I have to go meditate, do other things to release. And I don't care how many times I have to do it because it's just like, it'll be so much stuff that can pile on. And I'm just like, wait, this is not even mine.
Yes.
Once you think about it and you sit with it, like, this is not even mine to feel this way. So what in the world was I thinking or whatever? And so I have to remove myself from the situation and just really, I'm done. I'm out. Let me go take care of me, walk away and go into meditation, writing, journaling, things to get outside of my head.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things about the 9 of Clubs that they need to appreciate about themselves. For sure. It's not for me to, it's like for 9s, this is a 9 trait is to overdo, and why I say there are a lot of 9s, you get trapped inside of it. I know that the United States uses it to pimp people out. 9s can be masterful pimps. They can really get you trapped in a cycle, and that's what I mean by pimping. It's like you get trapped in a cycle and you don't know how to get out, and that's what pimping represents to me. It's like I don't know how to break free from it, and that can happen inside of a 9, and where we find most people don't get fulfillment because they don't know how to use the energy. So I think that overdoing that 9s can do, because if they assign themselves a project, it could be it could be crazy. If a 9 assigns you as a project and they start spoon feeding and handling you, that is something that I find that 9s can do to their detriment. And people are good at seeing that you do that, and they will attach on to it, right?
Yeah, they will. And this is what, even as growing up, when I was like doing teamwork or anything like that, which I didn't really like to do so much. But I was like, okay, what are you good at? Okay, then you do that. Like, because I don't want any parts of anything else other than what I have to do. So learning how to decipher and be like, okay, just put it out there. Okay, you're good at this. Okay, you go do that. Because I'm going to do something else. I don't want to take on everything that I can't. As much as you like to, you can't.
Right. Absolutely. That is a 9. That's anybody that has a 9. That is a trait of a 9 that they can overdo. It's like you feel whatever that person is able to, because that's that Queen of Hearts. Queen of Hearts is a challenging card, but it's Neptune, and that is about what happens with Pisces, right? That can be very delusional. It's like the absorption of it. It's like they can get inside of your energy field. It's just that Queen of Hearts is a real tricky energy, and it's your challenge. Mm-hmm. So think about it. That's your challenge, is to learn how to use that Queen of Hearts energy, right?
Yes, for sure.
So Neptune, not being in the ethers, and not being distracted, not using any kind of substances that are mind altering, not being gluttonous, not being greedy, not using one sensation more than the other, which in Nine of Clubs is the card of sex. So they can't be out of balance with that energy. Men in I find Nine of Clubs men really have that difficult. They do. Nine of Clubs men sometimes can feel very they can be promiscuous, thinking that that's their job on this earth, right?
And gluttony is not just that part. It's like the overbeating,
yes,
overdoing, over studying, over, because then you have it on your head. And then the thing that I'm learning is that you have to either teach it, write it out somewhere to dispel the information so that more can come in. Because if you're holding on to it, things get congested.
Girl, I write every day. You have never lied. That's why I have, I can't tell you how many books I have, because yes, it's inside of your head, right? It's like you'll just be sitting there and the Nine of Clubs just start talking to you, right? That's universal knowledge. You're like, where did this conversation come from? And, and to be able to talk in this room definitely saves my life, because I'm like, who would I tell this to?
I get like information, but I'm like, I don't think it's not useful at the time. But then somebody come like the same day and start talking about it. I'm like, did you just say? I'm like, oh, that's why it came to me, because I don't know why. I'm like, why am I learning this right now, or why is this coming into I don't know. But then it'll constantly play out where somebody will come and say something about it, or I'll hear about it again. And I'm like, oh, that's why I needed that information.
That's so true. I'm telling you, it's like, okay, I really don't know what to do with this, just like yesterday. It's like, I didn't know what to do with that energy. I was like, wow, I had to sit in it, and because of cardology, then I didn't freak out, but it was a lot. I was like, oh, child, I have so much understanding of what slowing down means, right? It's like, yeah, it can't fight in Neptune, right? You're going to get frustrated. Mm-hmm. So that was interesting.
That's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Now popped up the 3. It is irking my nerve to know what that 3 is now. I'm telling you, it's just, oh, hey, who's next? Did you speak, Vera? Or you just hanging out, soaking up the Nine of Clubs?
Yeah, you know what? I'm in the background working. I'm listening.
Okay.
But y'all got me with that Scorpion, because I'm a Scorpio, and I'm like, let me just take some notes and just chill today.
Take some notes. Hey, Clarity. Are you there? Hey, Zany.
Good morning, Miss Diamond.
Hey.
So, you were mentioning empaths earlier, and how empaths sometimes make it known that they are empaths. I've had to cross that word as I vocabulary on top of what popped up in my mind was, for those people who actually do call themselves empaths, they actually need to be responsible for themselves and be observers to what's going on with everybody else, so that they don't take that energy in. And what else was I going to say? I know that empaths sometimes, or a lot of times, get connected with narcissists and end up blaming Vera for the issues when at the end of the day they need to take the mirror and look at themselves.
Yeah, something. I don't know that word. I'm like, I don't want to have anything to do with being in nobody's. That's a lot. That's a lot of karma. Can you imagine that you're around people, and guess what the card of empath is? Another reason why I can see why I don't identify with it. It's the Jack of Diamonds. Oh Lord, that's a whole room, Zen.
Listen, and I always say that E-word makes me cringe.
Makes me cringe.
Listen, it's fun to be a Jack of Diamonds. Funny.
Isn't that funny? And the 8 of Diamonds is the reward to the empath. Jeez, that means you're supposed to be working, right? Empath that means you gotta work. Damn. That just opened up. That word gets me. And if somebody says they're empath, I'm like, why? Why would you want that? Why would you want that? I don't know. No, I'm like, no. Now that I know it's a Jack of Diamonds.
And for me, it's not that I don't want it. It's the fact that I think that it's overused. One, and people take pride in it, but don't have spiritual hygiene, right?
Ooh,
so then you're picking up all this
hygiene.
Hello?
It says spiritual hygiene. Did y'all hear that? Spiritual. We got a whole new word. Spiritual. I gotta write that down. Okay, I gotta write that down.
We can wake it up.
Ooh, man, I'm writing that down. That was the shiziznik. She said spiritual hygiene. Oh my God.
This is why you cringe, Miss Diamond, because it's like you have on all white, right? And if you picking up feelings of other people energetically, that means that every time you make contact with these people, they got dirty Cheeto hands, and now you got dirty Cheeto on your clothes. So, and people just wearing it. Like, yeah, I'm an empath with all these other people's energy on them, picking it up and speaking about it. But what are you doing to get that stuff off of you? Nothing a lot of times, but you're wearing this empath flags proudly. You know what I mean? That's the cringe part for me.
Ooh, at 9:11 a.m. And let the record show that it's 9:11 where I'm at, 911. Come on now, we can't make this stuff up. So, you know what I laughed at, Diamond? I laughed at because now for the rest of my entire life, I would never say it again because I knew it was something crazy. Well, I knew it was something interesting about being called the E word, empath. But then it's such a empath. Oh, I'm such an empath. You know what? Forget it. I'm burying the word in this hour. Never. I'm done with it.
You'll never hear that come out of my mouth. Oh my gosh, and they said they done put all their little Cheeto hands on you. Oh,
yeah. Just think about buildup, right? From the state, it's gunk. You hold in space, even like at the you dirty spiritually, but you pride yourself on being an empath, but you ain't doing no type of hygiene, no cleansing, no nothing, just picking up energy.
Hygiene. Yeah, man. Oh my gosh. Me, it's cringes. Now I know it's a Jack of Diamonds. That makes me cringe. It's a Jack, the nosiest card in the deck. It goes around the world being what? What is a Jack of Diamonds known for? Being in people's business. Yeah, so you an empath up in people's business, thinking you, I don't know, boy, that's a whole lot to sit with, what that word really represents, if it's a jack, because the Jack of Diamonds is a very spiritual card. That's Uranus Neptune. That is spirituality on fleek. That is a very spiritual card. Uranus is all things metaphysical, and Neptune is that 7, right? So think about how far and how wide you can go, and how misleading you can be, and how misled you can be. Because that sitting there, Neptune is saying you are an empath, could really be delusional. You know what I mean? Neptune can, that's Pisces. It's like you absorbing, what are you absorbing? And what is that person absorbing? What is really going on karmically between two people, right? That's deep. I mean, it has given me so much texture to why I will never, ever, ever embrace anything that, I'm not letting you come inside of me on purpose. Now, if you get past me and I don't see you, I got it. Like Zen said, I'm going to do my spiritual hygiene. You getting the flip out of here. I don't need it. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to decipher your life and to feel. Oh, that is so deep. That Jack of Diamonds just opened up to what it means to keep it moving, because the Jack of Diamonds never stays in one place long, right? They leave behind residue. Zen said they leave in their Cheeto hands on your white clothes. So the Jack of Diamonds goes all over the world and leaves residue of itself in all of these countries, right? That's deep. Yeah. Spiritual hygiene. That's deep. Right? Hey, Claire. Yes.
Hi. Okay, I kept getting trapped. It actually, what I've been trying to say is actually bounces off of what Sen just said, and it's all of the words. When I went to school, I went to school for theater education, and I had to take adolescent psychology, and I went to a HBCU, so we emphasized a lot during, like, economical and sociological thing, and we talked about like Black young men. And one of the things that we talked about were those 3 words. And the main difference of them all is boundaries. So as Sen was saying about like the spiritual hygiene, the difference is with like a sympathy, it's you're going along with someone. There is like a divide, you know, it's like you're holding someone's hand. You might be going, you can relate, but there's a distance. You can either be a people pleaser and try to extend yourself over, or you can kind of keep yourself at a healthy distance. The empath does not have any boundaries. When you are empathetic to someone, you are letting that energy within, you are digging within to bring out that communication. And then on the other extreme is the apathy. And like when someone brought up the narcissist, how Miss Ann brought up the narcissist with the empaths. Yeah, because the empaths have no boundaries and the narcissists are completely cut off. They have that apathy. And I think it's interesting because of the Night Club Day, since it is like, you know, universal knowledge, and especially with cardology, even cardology has their boundaries. Yes, everything has its ebb and flow, like with the air sign and everything, but at the same time, everything has its exact space. When you come into my house, you're going to act a type of way. Some houses aren't going to let you act a type of way at all. Some people ain't going to let you in their house. Like in 8 clubs, you ain't even coming to my house. Like, I don't just go to your house. I'm staying. I don't want to come to your house. Oh, wow. I'm staying home. You can come here and party, but I'm not coming. I don't want to know what that is. Over there. So it really has to do with boundaries. And I think it's interesting, again, with the universal knowledge, because I think ultimately that is one of the things all of us are trying to decipher down here is, where do you extend yourself and where do you hold back? And the difference really between those two things. And I hear what everyone's saying, but truthfully, the issue is empathy has nothing to do with feelings. It is a state of mind, it's a state of being. When you are being sympathetic, you are with what basically how we learned in class was, it's like you're holding someone's hand. You can be in the experience yourself and you have your own opinions and you have your own feelings, but you can see what they're going through. Sympathy, see. Empathy, feel. It's you're going within, you're reflecting whatever that is, your boundary is down. And then apathy is I'm not affected by anything.
Yeah.
So those are like the key things, because a lot of people, and I loved how I can't remember. Eminent. I'm so sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. You brought up nursing. My mom's a nurse, and that's one of the things that the new nurses, when they come in, teachers do it too, and I'm sure you saw it in social work. They come in like, I'm going to make a change. We're going to do all of this. And it's like, girl, you're going to burn yourself out, and then you're not going to be a help for anybody. Yeah. So it's not about your feeling. It's not sadness or anger or any of that. It is a state of being. Where are you in your statement? And I love how she also brought how cardology brings you present, because again, the 9 of clubs, and especially being a Scorpio, as she said, you're either in your head, that's that empathy, or you, as who was it? Kimberly said, I'll cut you off. There goes that apathy. So I think the 9 of clubs, one of their kind of things that I'm learning from this conversation, especially since we've had some discussed, is really trying to find those boundaries. Where do you teeter on that fence, and how do you stay in your square? And again, the language is important, because as Vera said, kind of the spell, how you define it is ultimately how your action's going to go, but that action then becomes your state. So if you want to do an impact, and you, like, as you said, I understand that. I love that spiritual hygiene, because it's so true. Because the way I look at I do call myself an empath from time to time, but I don't look at it as a prideful thing. To me, it's when I'm going through something and I can't get out of a funk. That's what it is. When I feel in my empathic, it's the fact is I know I'm taking on too much and I'm not giving myself space. So it's not always a badge of honor kind of thing, but I hear what you're saying, because a lot of people do, and I agree. It's kind of like I love that metaphor. Like, that's so perfect. You're walking around in like your beautiful white sacred, attire, and you have other people's Cheeto dust. So boundaries. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, for someone, I've been a social worker for over 30 years, and I will never use their terminology. I understand that people like to put people in a box, and I know where those words come from, and I know why they're used, and I will never use those terminologies to describe people. And that's it's a play on words, but it's also energy. So when you use these words, it's a definition. So you're defining something. If you're comfortable with it, it's fine. Me, knowing where these words come from, knowing that they didn't exist 30 years ago or so, and how they came out and how they play and how they grow, and to see where they are right now, I didn't use them then, and I won't use them now, because the words are used intentionally. And we're not necessarily intentional with the words that we say, not understanding the history behind them. And that's what I love so much about Clubhouse, is I understand the history behind the things that happened so long ago in my lifetime. So it's why whatever people do, they do, but I understand the history behind them. And I'm not going to be placed inside of a place that people they feel comfortable. If you're saying certain things, it's like you look at how it changed from Black to African American. I'm a Negro. People get in their feelings when I say that, but my race is the Negroid race, so I'm a Negro, right? But when I say that to people, people get in their feelings. No, people rename things just to see if they can, and oftentimes we fall in line. And you can do the whole census of putting something out on social media and see how people feel. I'm not going to play those games. I'm not a social media person. I know what life was like before social media. And I know how you had to set the tone by doing and saying and, dropping certain things off in certain communities, certain catchphrases, certain ways of saying things. And I'm very intentional with the definitions of and why these things came about. So no, I don't agree, and I'm not going to agree. I don't disagree with people doing it, and people have a right to do whatever they want to do. But because I know the history of all of the stuff that we're talking about, I disagree. And I want the universe to know I disagree. I want the universe to know I'm still woke, and I still have my sovereignty. It's my sovereignty. There's no way on God's green earth that I'm supposed to be that close or that connected to nobody. It's not. Doesn't make any sense. I got too much shit for myself that I got to be figuring out every freaking second of the day for me to now be in that realm that I got a dime in somebody's quarter. That's that eighth house. That's that ego. That's that tricky relationships that people have that are inside the eighth house. It's like those are those tricky, that's that shadow work that needs to be done. So now I'm in your shadow and I don't understand that I'm in your shadow, but the words that you use show me that you're in the eighth house. Shows me that shadow work is being done, and you're not necessarily understanding that the shadow that is shading you is doing it on purpose. The person that is doing the things is doing it on purpose. And now you've named them and given them a name and you feel comfortable with the name, but the name really doesn't describe what they're doing to you, right? So I take away all the names, all of the descriptions, and look at what's really happening in that eighth house, right? Inside of that eighth house where things are happening unbeknownst to us. But ego tells me, yes, I am this, or I'm doing that. When that person is all the time shading you because they see your ego. That person is like, oh, I see your ego. So if I see your ego, I know that you're playing in a different world, a different realm, and I can use your ego against you. Once we start labels are something that we never want to use. We don't. They were not. I didn't grow up with labels. These terms came, I would probably say I don't know, the 70s, because I really wasn't working, but in the 80s, these terms came around. And these terminologies became something that was more of a description for a reason. So when you put it in the computer, in this data system, this comes up. So now you have this data on this, you have that. We got to be very careful and very mindful of that. We use these terminologies not understanding why these terminologies came about. These terminologies are to put you and marginalize you and have people comfortable with you. So they're comfortable if they know certain something, a word about you. It's like, I'm comfortable. This is described you. You can't describe me. And you can't describe another human being walking on this earth. You can't. That's the eighth house, right? That's the eighth house where all of these things are happening, and we are not aware of the things that are happening because that's what it's about. The eighth house is that's shadow work. It's where the things that are happening are happening. But if you're not doing your shadow work, you're thinking that you are part of something that, sounds kind of creepy. You know what I mean? You're a part of somebody else's life or what's going on inside of somebody else. How much time can you do to do your work and have time to do that too? That's kind of like, that's the eighth house. That's ego. That's Pluto, right? That's Pluto all day long. You down in the shadows with people. You down in the shadows. And I'm not going down in the shadows with anybody. If I get down there and I wake up and I got to get out, it's a whole different thing. But going willingly, no. These terminologies, and they are still to this day, terminologies are used. I looked at how we started on Clubhouse, and I watched people go in the room, and it would be like you would walk and say you were going to the Marriott for a conference. So if you're going to a Marriott for the conference, you're dressed in a certain way, you're carrying yourself a certain way, you probably spent a certain amount of money for that conference, so you have a certain expectation. So they had to set that up here on Clubhouse. It's like you walk in the room back in almost 2 years ago. I don't see it as much now, but people go in the room and they tell you, okay, yes, you have to PTR. You have to, when you get ready to finish, I am complete. I said, you can't make this up. I said, on an app, they have trained people. They've trained people. So the things that are done on purpose. It's done on purpose. So when we espouse and we say certain things, it's like, okay, you good. I know where you coming from. No, I'm never going to fall underneath that hypnotic trance that they use to put us under. That's just a way of knowing where you are in that time. And people will argue it and belabor it. And when you break it down and look behind the scenes, what does it really mean? Ego. Ego. 8th house. So you got to be careful of where you're dwelling at. We're dwelling down inside of somewhere where eventually you got to do the shadow work. Like Zen said, you got Cheeto hands all over you. That was deep. That was deep. You got Cheeto hands all over you where people are depositing their shit. Nah, I'm sorry. Now, got to be careful of, your spirit. How many of us guard our spirit? How many of us really look at our spirit and say, I love you. I'm going to protect you from the shenanigans out there, right? It's like, I'm going to protect you. I'm going to protect my spirit and my sovereignty. That takes so much work for me to protect myself. So much work to see it coming and to dodge it. It's like, oh, dodge that bullet. So much work. And then sometimes it gets past you, but that's when you got to do the work. It's not for you to be thinking this is a part of what the universe, no. Why would the universe want you to carry somebody else's pain? Why? It's technology. It's technology. You further and further away from doing the work that you came here to do in other people's business. 8th house. Ego. Ego. Now that I know it's the Jack of Diamonds, it's beyond me. I'm just saying my mind is so blown. One of the most egoic cards that there is. Jack of Diamonds has no problems going where they go, doing what they do, leaving, and just, can you imagine? No. Ego. That 8th house, and we're in the middle of we're at the end of a Pluto return. So when people are bleeding at the spiritual ER, I suggest you leave them there. But they get their Cheeto hands on you. Oh my God, they're out of clubs. Hey, Madeline.
Good morning, Diamond. Good morning, everyone. I always enjoy coming to this room. You're always right on the frequency. Thank you for everyone who shows up, all the shares. I'm with you. So I came up because I've been thinking a lot about this sovereignty piece as well. It's in my frame and my thoughts. And yeah, for as long as I've been working with people back quite some time ago, I had to say prayers in between, like just something to reclaim myself, whether I sang a song in between or I said prayer for the people. And when I worked in hospitals, I found that there was a whole container, right? Like you were in a frequency when you worked in the hospital. Like I worked in rehab, so there's a certain energy in the whole rehab. So it really became so important that even though I was there in the role I was there, I had to keep my energy clear. And I didn't always do it. There were some times where I got in the soup and I was like, oh boy, I gotta get out of this. So I really am hearing what you're saying. My thoughts about the way it works as far as empathy and things like that, I think there's a desire in the human experience to co-regulate, like to kind of like connect, kind of like what you do in this beautiful room, like people feel safe in the container. And I think sometimes when you come into, I feel for myself when I come into a space with other energies, of course, first thing I do is take my energy back to me and stay contained. But then it's like, I'm going to notice feelings. I'm going to notice sensations. But it's the interpretation. It's what we put in our brain about it, or if we think we have to do something with it. It's like, oh, it's windy. You don't have to analyze it. It's windy. It's just windy. So I've been really recognizing that kind of stuff in my practice with people and growing more self-mastery that way. And I also think there's a diet beyond spiritual hygiene, which I totally bow to, and I think is so wise, and I love the phrasing. It has to do with like, how do I keep my thoughts when I'm listening to activating me in forward movement? Like in the room here, I'm activated towards forward movement, because I feel the forward movement, so it's whatever you're circling. And so if you don't necessarily want to grow out of that 8th house like you talk, or that shadow, you're going to find that kind of energy really uncomfortable. right? Because you want to hold what you got and keep it singing because you want whatever you think you're getting from it, So, so I'm listening and I'm recognizing that the cards or whatever the energy field is, the topics and the things that we're all noticing and bringing up are so similar. So obviously we're all in some collective energy, but to keep your own sovereignty, as you would say, is the value of being able to bring something that could co-create cleanly, not necessarily replay out a pattern, but co-create from a higher place. So those are my thoughts about it, but I'm really loving the room. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. It's that, we all got to know what our solvency is. For me, that people don't realize that things are done on purpose. We have so many rooms on here and there's so many conversations about times that pass, but not understanding the real texture behind the conversations that you're having. Because I've watched how people are manipulated. I've watched it. Working in social services, it is a disgusting place to work for for a spirit, you know what I mean? It's a disgusting place to be manipulated, to go through all of the things that I went through to realize I was there for a purpose and I was the purpose. You know what I mean? That I was in an energy field with people on purpose, not separate and apart from the people, but in that energy field with people. So it just took on a whole different meaning for me to look at the human existence differently, but to also look at the powers that be and the things that are done purposefully. These things are done on purpose, and they are done in such a way that you don't even know that they're being done, right? You don't know that you're being done. But systematically looking at people love to call people narcissists and love to call people all kind of words that didn't exist. They make up these words so they can diagnose you and put you in a box. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing for you to follow that train of thought. That's not a good thing. What is it about you that you need to start looking at to see why you're captivated by these people, first of all? You know what I mean? What is it about these people that you want to come into your life for you to diagnose them? And the words that didn't exist in our communities, especially, we had no kind of idea, like somebody would say, oh, that's Uncle John, you know how that is, to now to us calling them something. You know what I mean? That's deep. That's deep for you having a love for whatever quirk or whatever it is that person had to now you have a pathology for them that takes them to a whole different level. It closes down any experience once you use those. Once somebody gives you a diagnosis, doesn't that close down any kind of anything else? There's no more experience in there. So those diagnoses are used for a reason. To put you inside of a computer and put a number next to you and the statistics of the world, and people can pull it up now and say, well, yeah, it's true, because statistically they say that this group of people have, 57% of them are narcissistic, or I'm saying, this deep. This is deep. This isn't nothing to play with. It's not nothing to play with to put people inside of a category that's going to be used against you, right? It's going to be used against you. Uranus is going to be kicking against it. I'm ruled by Uranus. I'm always going to fight that. Always. I'm always going to fight it, because that's a ending right there. When you say that, it's like, this is the end of that story. No, it's not. That's not the end of my story. How dare you? How dare you put a period behind my name? So knowing why these things are done, I'm always going to speak out about why you should be careful labeling, putting certain labels out. We were always taught from the generation before us, you never want to be counted in their statistics, right? Never understood what they would say till now, and to look at what statistics do. Statistics are serious, right? Statistically, think about what statistics polarize or do to a community. They will always tell us, don't get caught in those statistics. not understanding what they would say. I mean, the elders. My elders were some powerful people. I have so much reverence and love and appreciation now that I didn't have, because looking at the world and how it is, they were on point. Nobody can talk about it. They're not here anymore. And whatever reason, my generation isn't out here having the conversation, because like we were pissed off at them for so many other reasons. But the words and the things that they told us is playing out in ways that blows my mind. It's blowing my mind of how 50 years ago, the people who I didn't want to listen to were talking about what's happening now. I'm just saying, it's just amazing to see that there is nothing new under the sun. And them being so detached, and you're not necessarily knowing why, because it's not that you wanted to be, like you look at segregation, it's not like you wanted to be a part. So they would tell us all the time, no, you don't. You want to stay as far away from that system as you possibly could, but not understanding what that meant. It's like, what do you give up? You give up a lot. You give up your sovereignty. So segregation wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't, because we had sovereignty. So integration, look at where we are, right? And we didn't integrate without the strings that were pulling us and telling us what to do and how, till this day, tell you how to say things, what to say, where to say, why to say. Yeah, this is a real game that's being played out here. So yeah, I understand that people love to, there are things that you are conditioned to believe, and you got to go through whatever it is that you go through to get to where you get to. But when you that close to other people and you meddling in other people's business, you need to pull back. You really do. When you feel like that's your assignment on this earth, I would want to know why I'm assigned. That's why I need to know. Why would that be my assignment? I need to know. So that's cruel and unusual punishment, because we live in homes with people, we work with people, where we are energetically going through a lot of things, right? To assign myself that on purpose, no, I'm not doing that. That's not my assignment. That's the 8th house. Not my assignment. Nosy behind Scorpios. I ain't messing with Diamond.
Grand Rising, Miss Diamond and Tribe. I'm new to the astrology club. I saw you on Lloyd Strayhorn, and I immediately started following.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yes, I'm an Ace of Diamonds. I'm a Sagittarius, and with this whole sympathetic thing, I've never called myself an empath personally, but I've always felt like I was. This whole entire year, I've been doing like some extreme healing work on myself, healing of the chakras. I really came into my spirituality this year. And what I take from it is, as a child, I was bullied in the home and bullied in school. So I became a victim. And from becoming a victim, I used my strength and I overcame that. And then I started to have this like superior challenge where I felt like, I was going through a stage where I was conceited. And then coming out of that, now I come into this empathetic, sympathetic way where I'm empathetic to people who've been bullied or basically trauma bonded with people. So I hear all of what all of you guys are saying, and I heard what you said, and it actually spoke volumes to me, because in doing my healing, I'm realizing where, yes, you can empathize with people and you can sympathize with people, but you have to have boundaries. And without boundaries, that's when it kind of gets out of the way. And like you said, you will get that dirty dust on you, where you don't understand why you're feeling like this, why your energy's off, why your frequencies is off. So yes, I do feel like you can empathize and sympathize with people, but you have to draw that line and understand when enough is enough.
That Queen of Spades and Pluto talking right there. That's it. That Queen of Spades and Pluto is embodying everything that you said. Yeah, that part. Yeah, you have one of the most powerful cards in the deck in Pluto. You're standing in the middle of that 8th house with a superpower. That's nothing to play with. That's a superpower. And it's also a big part of the Ace of Diamonds' demise, not being able to handle that energy, right? Being able to handle exactly what you're there for. That person, when you come into their life, it's about self-mastery. It's about, I don't know what you're doing, how you're doing it, but you're going to get it done. That's it. That's the Ace of Diamonds. It's like you're going to get it done. The emphasis is always going to fall back on you. Queen of Spades and Pluto.
Yes, right? That's why I had to work on my tribe this year heavy. I cut off a lot of people because I realized if I'm doing my healing work and you're still calling me with the same problems and you're talking about the same things, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to change, or are you going to keep on dwelling in all of that, like I said, like Sin said, that Cheeto does? Are you going to keep on dwelling in that bag, or are you going to come out of it and, take yourself a spiritual bath?
Yeah, and for me, the thing is that people say they cleanse themselves. I don't gotta cleanse myself. I'm not getting in this shit. Why would I have to cleanse myself? It's like we give ourselves assignments. It's like, why do I need to cleanse myself? I don't need to cleanse myself. I was never there. You know what I mean? It's like we give ourselves these assignments. Why? Why do you feel that you need to take on that assignment? It's like people tell me often, when you get off of there, I don't have to do nothing when I get off of here, but go on about my life, because I have not absorbed, I haven't taken on anything. I'm doing what I'm doing in the capacity that I can do it, and I'm keeping it moving. That ego, that 8th house would say, I am doing something in this room more powerful than I am. Get out of here. I have no power, none whatsoever. Nothing. I have no power. If somebody wants to assign it in their mind, you can do whatever you want. But sitting right here where I am, I have no power. I am just somebody here having a conversation. I don't assign myself anything higher than that, because that's the 8th house. That's where the shadow work begins. It's like I have to sit here and say, is it real or is it Memorex? Right? What did you just say? How did you just say it? Are you manipulating? No, I'm not. I'm having a conversation. Where the conversation falls, it falls. But all of the other hidden things, no, you're not going to find them over here. I'm quite clear that when I get off of here and I close out this room, I got to be me. I have to be me, and learning that not to second guess the woulda, coulda, shouldas. No, that's ego. That's the 8th house, and we're literally sitting in the 8th house right now in this room. And the things that happen inside of the 8th house are happening to you, and you want them to be inside of your intentions. What are your intentions? As long as you know your intentions, as long as you're solvent, as long as you're doing what you need to do, you're going to be good. But if your intentions are to manipulate, and people do this all the time, they try to manipulate energy. They try to use their powers and not own that they're trying to use their powers. They're trying to do something outside of themselves in the mundane world, and they're not taking ownership. That's whiplash. That's coming back. And it is going to be something that is called shadow work. You gotta look at why you do what you do and be honest with yourself. I do what I do, and I'm honest why I do what I do. There's no hidden agenda with me, none whatsoever, none. So getting there and being able to be solvent, not because and the thing wasn't so bad. My intentions for helping people were, that wasn't the bad thing. The bad thing was that people were using the fuck out of me. It's like, oh, she want to help? Oh, they're going to help her over there. People were sucking me dry. That's the 8th house. It's like you don't know what that person's intentions are. You like, oh yeah, I saw this and this. That was me, an overdoer. people saw that and they were like, oh, so you want to do, I mean, you talking about being mentally unprepared. I was not prepared, and growing and being, nurtured and having powerful people have those conversations with me got me away from that ego. Because even if you don't think it's ego, for me it was ego. I was doing things out of ego, overdoing, overgiving, and people were taking advantage of every cent, every penny, every minute, everything that I wanted to do. People were bleeding me dry, right? So that eighth house is no place to play out. It is shared resources, but what are you sharing? You're sharing, and you may know what you think you're doing, but you don't know what the other person is doing. You don't know. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes in those deep, dark crevices. You don't know the intentions because you're not paying attention to the signs. That's that eighth house. So when we start giving labels and people are like, oh, so you like that? Okay, now I know how to play with you. The more you add, the more people are able to figure you out, right? The more they can figure you out because now they have a label. Once you pull off all the labels, people know. People say stuff to me, I'm like, no, I am not repeating that. I'm not, because now you can say, oh, she said this. Somebody said on my Instagram yesterday that I said that we don't need Black men. I was like, I said, can you please go back and listen to that tape? Because I know I've never said that. I've never said that. I post things that I like to post. And sometimes people come back and say some bizarre shit. It's all their shit. Because I know nobody is going to say that they heard me say you don't need a Black man. Where did I say that at? But she said it underneath my post.
Right, Miss Diamond. I want to speak to something and I want to give you flowers in this moment. Because I've watched a couple people try to come on the stage today and correct you about something, right? That you were speaking to. And even like watching you, being in a room with you since late 2020, just being in your rooms, observing, I've learned so much. But I think that there's confusion because you speak to much that sometimes is missed when you're speaking to energies and frequencies. And if we are stuck in science and textbooks and facts, right, we miss the message from our elders. Elders won't say, hey, I have a message for you, or hey, this is my intuition speaking. They will just drop some shit. And it is up to us to sit at the feet of them and listen and pick it up. So I'll give an example. Ms. Diamond has been calling me Zen, and that is so powerful. It's an activation. I have not corrected her once. You want to know why? Because she's speaking to something. She don't know nothing about what I just went through, right? I just had to pull my shadow out the box. It was wrapped up in a bow. And she came out, and she was ferocious because she don't care, right? And once I put her back, I got confirmation from a butterfly, right? Because things speak to me in nature. I saw, before she came out, I saw a caterpillar on my car, on my windshield. Right? That same day, the shadow came out. Because I move in peace and building. But that day, the shadow came out, right? And then once it was done, and all the residue was done, and I did my cleansing and I cleared things, a butterfly was on my windshield. I sent it to my friend. She's in this room right now. And then I come in this space, and Miss Diamond keeps calling me Zen, right? That is a message. That is confirmation. Empowered from sitting at the feet of your elders, whether you feel like they are saying something wrong. Listen to the message, not what the books tell you. That's why she keeps standing firm on that. She speaks to cards, but she speaks to energy and frequency. And I used to go through this with my grandmother, and I'd be like, well, elders are just going to be elders and write it off. But writing elders off is kind of spiritual bypassing. I just wanted to say that, because they could be saying some things wrong, or you could take the meat and leave the bone. But my grandmother was even an educator all my life. Miss Zami gets on here every day and teach. So when you hear something, and this is just for me, I'm not trying to tell anybody what to do, but when I hear something that may be textbook incorrect or politically incorrect, I then think, is there a message in this? What else could she be speaking to? Does this apply anywhere else? So I just wanted to say that elders drop gems, and if you listen and take ego out, because she mentioned ego, you'll get the divine messages. You really will, because her calling me Zen, it really activated something in me. It reminded me in my energy, and she spoke to the frequency for me. So I just wanted to give you, because I think so used to speaking to the card, people are used to you speaking to cards, and you get pushback when people feel that you may be saying something incorrectly. Are we actually listening? Are we sitting at the feet of our elders and hearing what else they have to say, or if they are dropping a gem? Just wanted to say that I'm complete. I appreciate you, Ms. Diamond.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Explaining yourself is something that you do in your 40s, or even your 50s, 60s. I said, when I get to my 70s, you're not going to be able to stand me, because I'm not going to explain myself. That part I'm not going to do. And it's exactly that. It's energy. If I hadn't lived my life, I wouldn't say a lot of stuff. But I've lived, and I've seen a lot of shenanigans. And they're playing out on Clubhouse right in front of me right now. I've seen it. I've seen the setup, and I see what the setup gets us. We're sitting in the middle of it right now. The setup came, people fell right for hook, line, and sinker, and now we're sitting in it. We're going into Uranus. We're going into a game changer. We're going into a great awakening where we get a chance to say, be, and do whatever the fuck we want to. And a lot of people ain't got courage to do that. That's on them. It's not going to stop me. Because when Uranus hits me, I'm telling you, people are going to be like, well, what happened to her? I did the work. I want Uranus to hit me in the most sweetest spot it could find and awaken me in ways that I can't even imagine. So I'm going to test the waters, my waters. I'm going to find my solvency. I'm going to do the things that I do that I didn't have the courage to do. So I understand that. I get it. But I never in my life at 30 or 40 or even 50 corrected an elder. I've never. I don't even know what that looks like. And I have to come to now, you are an elder. So I have to change. I have to stand in that. And whatever that looks like, I got to be okay with it. I have to be okay with it, because it's proof in the pudding right now. Ma'am, you're going to be 65 years old. You're an elder. So I know what that meant to be around elders. And my expectation has got to be that. And what Zen just said, Zen, that's
continue. No, that was it. I know, but now that's it.
I know, but now that I heard myself say it, I'm like, wow, I literally heard myself say Zen.
Folks don't know that spirit be using people, just to listen.
Yeah, I heard myself say Zen. I hadn't heard myself say Zen the whole time you said it, and I know your name. So it's so funny that I just literally heard myself say Zen. So yeah, for sure. And I got to put that in the Quest Maximus to see what Zen is. I have to do that.
And you know what's so funny is that I'm in the background listening, right? Because I'm working and I'm listening. See, we can do those two things while we're on Clubhouse all day. Praise God. But anyway, here's the thing. I heard you say her name several times, but guess what? I still heard Sin, right? And it just registered to me that everyone has their own measurement of understanding. You can say something 1,000,001 times, and people gonna pick up their own level of understanding what you said or what you mean. And so that's why it's difficult for me to just kind of tell people what I'm meaning. If you don't understand it, that's okay, because all this meat ain't for everybody. You got to really be in a position to eat the meat, throw away the bone. And then even as Zen was saying about the butterfly and the caterpillar, I got a whole video. Whereas I was walking the other day on a path, a friend of mine's and I was about to put my foot down, but something told me to scream before I put my foot down. And I literally screamed in my step. So before I could step down, guess what it was? It was a caterpillar. And I haven't seen a caterpillar. I got the video up. This was just about maybe 5 days ago. So it's on my Facebook page. And I shared that experience. I understand what it's like to get messages in symbolic messages where a bird will just fly and sit on top of your roof of your car, or a rabbit or just come to you like you. I'm like, I'm not your mama. Why you come run up to me like this? So so the gems that you drop in this room, everybody gonna pick up their own measurement. Everybody is going to understand and articulate the way that they can. So some things you will never be able to explain as far as your meaning of it, and everybody get it the same, if that makes sense. So again, I'm on here sucking up as much knowledge as I can. I'm always sucking, but here's what I love is that not only am I willing to suck, I'm also willing to blow. Because when you sit in the seat, like a seat that you sit in, Diamond, you always the teacher, but you're always the student at the same time. And many folks can't do that because their egos get in the way and they always want to be the teacher. I'm the teacher. I'm the teacher. Not me. I'm always learning while I'm always teaching. So guess what? That makes me balanced. But anyway, thank you, Diamond, for having a room on Clubhouse and doing it all the time, where we can literally come in and sit and be at peace, and we can eat while we at peace. And even when we bang in your room, because we be banging, we be dropping gems and a lot of great people come up. But even when we're banging, we're slaying and we're learning and we're inspiring and we're educating other people. So in that light, I will always sit next to you, Diamond. Thank you, honey.
Appreciate you. And saying there's a six of clubs to messenger. I just love that. And the six of clubs has the eight of diamonds and Jupiter. So yeah, that's very powerful. That is a very powerful. That you pointed that out. You know, I love words to look. I love to look up the word and with the algorithm and the solar value of them, and knowing, like I said, words. I know words. I know what words are used. I know they're used on purpose, and the fact that we don't know that, I definitely have a lot of Uranus in me, but my Uranus is paired with Saturn, so it's about cooperation. I'm not allowed to just be bucking the system. I have to watch the system. The system has to make sense to me, and like I said, coming from a place of being taught what this system was and why and all that kind of stuff, to all of these decades later to never hear people talk about it, and for people to be building on it, because people build on these words and give these words more energy. And to me, that is it's just a problem for me, because these things have been put out here intentionally, and they put us inside of a box, inside of a computer, inside of a statistic. And I'm not going to be a statistic for anybody. I'm not going to allow them to do that. So that's why I say the things that I say. It's not for anybody else. I don't care if people get in their feelings when I am claiming my sovereignty. I have to do that because I hadn't been solvent for a great deal of my life. For a great deal of my life, I was in that 8th house, being with Pluto being in my first house, and thinking that I was the shit. I had a big ego, a lot of ego. Only reason people could take advantage of me is because of my ego. My ego was that I was doing something when I was being done. So I'm clear when I speak, because I'm letting the universe know. I'm talking to the universe and letting the universe know I see you. I see you working with me. I see you sending me what I need to come out of ego, to be better every day. to not to need to do, not to have to get off of here and take a spiritual bath. I ain't gotta take no freaking spiritual bath. Don't. I ain't got no spirits bouncing around in my house, in my body, or anywhere. I don't have to clean with sage. I don't have to do all of those things because I'm solvent. Right? Solvency means a great deal to me, and so does ego. Ego is telling me that I am up here on this stage having an impact. No, that's not. No. That's where it gets murky, and I will have to get off of here and have a spiritual bath and have to go through the different things to cleanse myself from my ego. Right? Cleanse myself from my ego. Not from you, not from anything that anybody said. My ego is now in its feelings. No, I don't. No. So I don't say things that's not intentional. I say things that are intentional because when I'm having a conversation, I'm having a conversation and I'm watching it develop in my life. Literally, the conversations from sitting here and remembering my ancestors that were born, saying you never want to have that conversation again. Really, they would tell you that. They're like, that's a conversation you don't want to, they would stop you in your tracks, then explain it, right? Because there's certain things that you just keep between you and God. You know what I mean? And we don't have those kind of conversations, and people speak now and they feel, that that's just what you do. No, words are spells. The conversations and the things that we are saying, they're inside of our house with us. And a lot of people can't handle it. They can't handle the stuff that they put out there into the universe when it comes back, because it's always you. And I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but if I look at somebody and I see traits in that person, and I don't look back and find those traits in me and correct them, what does that say about me? How do I see traits in somebody when it's a mirror? No, I'm sorry, that's you. You see you all day long, and it's a bitter pill to swallow. That's me? Oh yeah, that's you. That's you all day long.
Ms. Diamond, I just want to say one more thing, because although you teach when you speak, you teach in your silence as well.
Yeah.
So, I had a great aunt. She spoke in riddles sometimes, right? And people gave her time of day. She's extremely educated, so smart. But she started, as she got older, she spoke in riddles. And there was one of my cousins who will always go to see her and be talking to her, and they'll just go deep. And she said at the table they were playing cards, like on a family night. And she was like, y'all want to know why I talk to her so much? Because I listen to what she don't say. Pay attention to what she does not say. You need to really listen to that part. And what you've been doing recently, when you do pop in rooms on Clubhouse, you get up, you listen, you speak to energy, and you dip. You sometimes don't even give people the chance to respond to what you said because it's not necessary. You're dropping a message. You're being a vessel. Your finger could do it, So I had to point that out, because not just today, but so many times, days, months, people will come up and try to correct you on something, or go back and forth with you on something, and they are missing the message that you are trying to provide.
Yeah, but if we look at the card and the energy of that day, is why I participate. Because I want that energy to be raw. I want it to show up exactly the way that it's showing up. No filters, no ego, no nothing. This is how the energy shows up, because we have people in our family, people at work that we have conversations with that we don't take ownership for. Right? It's like we have conversations and we think it's a vacuum, but you having a conversation in an energy field. And when that energy field shows up, I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. I lean all the way in, because that's the purity of that energy at that time. And I'm for it, because I'm learning for sure. And I'm dealing with some ego things in myself, and I'm adjusting. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to be able to adjust your ego. That's a beautiful thing. And trust me, I have a big ego. I do. I big ego, but my big ego is my friend right now. Before, my ego wasn't my friend. My ego was kicking my ass. Now my ego is my friend. It's like when that starts rearing and it starts wanting to have conversations, I'm like, okay, we got this conversation. It's okay. Because I got to do the shadow work. And it takes away the edge of what people think and what people, that ego is a very deceitful energy. You know, it could be very deceitful. Not true at all. And that's the 8th house. It's like, it's not true. That's not true. Right? But nonetheless, I'm going to hold on to it.
Please leave your message for 2.
Hello?
Yeah, hey. No, I'm sorry. I just.
I can't believe I'm sitting at the computer.
Oh yeah, no, it's 11 Central Standard Time. So it's
12 o'clock. Great. All right.
yeah. Okay. I just wanted to just call you real fast and say that. Yeah, it's my time. Okay, so it's 10:10 now. So thank you. Talk to you later. Yes. Oh, yes, it is. It's 11.
See you in a minute.
All right, huh?
All right.
It's a beautiful thing, right? It's a beautiful day.
It is. I understood why the person was questioning her because it was a very touchy subject. And, what she was saying, and the person was like, but you don't know that. Like, you're literally telling people that, well, because you took the quote unquote jab, you got vacuum-induced AIDS and all kind of things. And she's like, how do you know this? Like, you're literally telling people that they got a disease, and you've never met these people in life. If that was their choice, then I think that's their choice. But to tell someone that they have vaccine-induced AIDS because they took a vaccine, no. So it got really, really, really heavy, and I was just like, yeah, this. I need to check out. I need to take my black ass to bed because it was just too much. It was just too much, and it just wasn't needed. So yeah. Okay, I'm going back to the matrix.
That part. Yeah, we got, you got to stand in your sovereignty. If people, or you need people to give you permission, you are never going to get where you got to get in this life if you waiting for people to give you permission, right? If you sitting there waiting for people to give you permission and co-sign, you're never going to get the things you want in life, right? Never. You gotta figure it out along the way, like everybody else has. Please leave your message for things. If I was in my family, they would say, "Oh, you mad? Pat yourself on your ass and get glad." I mean, the people that I was around all my life were funny. They were funny. They were here. I made an agreement to come here and do something, and those people were there to remind me all the time. They didn't have any problems with it, and I admired that. I have a King of Spades and Mercury. Come on now, really?
Diamond, I'm laughing. You just made me laugh out loud because you can pat it your ass and get glad, or you can scratch your ass and get glad. But either one was up to you. Pat it or scratch it, honey. Isn't that the truth? I ain't heard that. Damn it. I have not heard that saying, and probably I'm gonna go back at least 30 some years. Pat your ass and get glad.
That's what they said.
That's almost like that's some of them old sayings that you say that they looking at you now like, yeah, okay, that had meaning. Stuff that my mother, yeah, that had meaning. That I was reading the chats and somebody was, talking about some of the things that was said, that your parents said to you or your elders said to you back then that you see now. Because I can remember my mom would say, okay, one of these days, you don't hear me now, you'll hear me later. And some of the stuff that as I'm teaching and talking with my children, I can hear my mother as plain as day saying, okay, you're going to get it now. If you don't get it in the wash, you'll get it in the dryer, or it come out in the dryer. But all those sayings. And yeah, this is deep. Good conversation. I'm going back to on mute, but I just had to throw that out there, damn it. I'm patting my ass and I'm getting glad. And I'm going to scratch it too.
That part. It's like, why do we need to get permission? That's it. I've been there. I know what that looks like, but I was uncomfortable in lots of situations. But while I'm in these situations, I was paying attention, and I was paying attention to how we are trained in this world, and not even knowing that we're being trained. And like I said, coming on Clubhouse and watching people, I said, she just announced that she's finished speaking. I said, who has to announce that they're finished speaking, right? And as I was sitting in more rooms, people started doing it. I'm complete. I said, oh, wow, that's scary. It just was like, wow, this is a trend. And you want to be a part of something. I said, no, I don't. I can't do that. I don't want people to see, yeah, I follow suit. And it's not that I don't want to vote. I don't want to belong. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. Belonging did not get me the things that I thought I would get out of life, right? But just the trends of what happens on social media is that, the things that are in that algorithm, and they grow and they grow and they grow and they grow, and it becomes a part of life. It's scary. It's scary that how you can drop something in an app and now it's the norm. That's scary. Back in the day, they had to work a little bit harder for it to stick. Now you drop it in the app and people run with it, and people can explain it, and people have reasons why, and not understanding the backstory to it. That eighth house, it's like, what's really going on inside of that eighth house? That's what the question I always ask myself is, what's really going on? What conditioning is happening behind the stories that I'm not aware of? And it could be something minor, but it's going to end up in a different way, right? It's going to end up in a different way. You can go somewhere, right? And you said something, and I know that could be very controversial, but all of the things that are said about Black men are now being used against them, and now all of the things that are being said about Black women are being used against them. It's like I look on social media, and it's not, you shouldn't be proud that you're educated. You shouldn't be proud, right? So the things are happening, and they're systematically being set up, and we don't know that it's for our demise, right? Because now to be educated, the memes and the stuff that they put out there about educated Black women, is like, I don't want to belong to that, right? It's not so, you shouldn't be proud that you're destroying the fact, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm very mindful of looking at the things that are dropped on social media and that we repeat, that we take into our vocabulary, and we're saying it over and over and over again, and being a part of that ritual, that energy field that's being used against us, right? Because we're saying it. So now you can't stand up in the court of law and say, well, you did say it. Just like you look at, it was just annoying me on Facebook that my friends on Facebook will be sharing their Facebook is invading their privacy, and you got to put this on your wall so they can't. I'm like, this is the internet. You have no privacy. I'm saying in my head, right? And this was for at least a good 2 years straight that they were just going hard on Facebook and privacy and da-da-da-da-da. And now the same people posted they got a COVID shot. I said, okay, where did we take that left turn? You know what I mean? So now, if you go back to that privacy thing with Facebook, which I'm sure people will forget, and Facebook will say, but didn't you post your COVID shot? You know what I mean? It's like people follow these things and don't necessarily understand. Right? But these people were adamant about their privacy, and now they're sharing their COVID vaccination. So social media is an experiment, right? It's an experiment. And for the time that I've been on here, people are losing. They're losing because they have been turned into little clones that just follow the algorithms and share and do the craziness that social media wants them to do, right? So you're never, like the young lady